Hi, welcome everybody. This is Michelle Balatico from T-Mobile. We've got our wonderful Magenta career panel today and some awesome guests from our various parts of backgrounds, and we're happy to be spending some time with you today. So just a little bit about me. I'm actually a senior program manager out in the Bellevue office, and I've been with T-Mobile for 8 years, working on our communications team. However, I started recruiting for our product and technology team um, 8 years ago, and recently stepped into a role to become a senior program manager of events. So I engage with both internal and external community on tech events such as hackathons, challenges, meetups, and fun things like Code Day and STEM outreach. So that's a little bit about me. And let's talk a little bit about the wireless industry. It's definitely a large industry where there are various types of roles. People who build the towers to designing the network that run your phones, the folks that develop your systems that connect our customers to our frontline employees, and creating programs, products, and services. So today we've got our Magenta career panel with a bunch of employees that will share their paths of how they got to where they are. And we'll find out a little bit more about them and how they found their way into tech. But first, we'll chat a little bit about product and technology. So that is the organization that we belong to. We are actually headed by our fearless leader, Cody Sanford. He is our Chief Information Product and Technology Officer. We have 4 locations spread out across the nation. Our headquarters in Bellevue, Overland Park, Kansas, Atlanta, and Frisco, Texas. And our team is responsible for aligning our people and technologies that bring innovative experiences for customers and frontline employees to life. So that's a little bit about what we do. And I'll just dive into our chat and introduce our part of our panel. So first up today, we've got Vera Vinagala. She is a veteran Code Day judge as well as mentor. So I'll have you go ahead and take it away here.
Hello. Hi, everyone. How are you all doing? Are you all having fun coding? So I just wanted to mention about how did I start my journey in my life in coding world. So as a kid, I was always crazy about math. Math was something which was crazy. So I said, you know what? I want to be an engineer because math is where there you'll have a lot of math. And that's how I said, okay, I'll be an engineer. And the first one which I came across, I was like, I saw constructions and everything. So I said, I'll be a structural engineer, where you can have lot of cooling coding, a lot of actually math involvement and all the complexities. I said, let's do that. And as we started as doing started doing structural component, and I did my undergrad from India in structural engineering, and then did my master's. And I also worked as a structural engineer when I was doing all this cool structural stuff. And that's when I went into the coding world, because I started writing my own coding and for the programs for calculating. That's when I was like, this is computer science. So I was like, okay, I love doing something from scratch, building from scratch. So coding from scratch, I said, okay, let me do it. So that's how I started my journey in coding world. So one point I would like to mention definitely is it's never too late to learn coding. So as I started my journey in coding, I did my second master's in computer science and from University of Illinois, Springfield. And I worked in this past 20 years in defense, government, private organization in all cool programs and products where we launched different products across to help folks. For example, in defense, we had like a product which was saving soldiers' life. It's like really amazing that you can make a difference and help in saving soldiers' life. and in government, in making people's life better. For example, food stamps, or do they have availability for um, in the food stamps or homeless folks, all those things. In hosting company, like for example, Rackspace, we had like cloud products launched in the cloud products, doing all the cool technologies in that, and different across in the rack space. And then I moved to T-Mobile in past 3.5 years plus. In 3.5 years in T-Mobile, I was had an opportunity to work as architect and manager in product and development. And here we had amazing stuff working on the release engineering, like seeing how the products are getting released into production, like so that it's flawlessly. And right now, which is even more exciting, is where I'm working with the front um, frontline experience, where my team is actually working on the messaging. You'll be wondering, what is messaging, right? If you go to any website, open the website and go to any website, and you see the chat box which pops up, hey, how can I help, and all. Those are the messaging I'm talking about, the digital messaging platform, where you can actually communicate with the support. And as a customer, you can communicate and get that seamless experience. You can buy a phone, you can pay your payments and get help. That is the cool thing my team is doing. We are also using the AI technology, so that way it is actually giving you that bot experience, automated way of getting the responses. So in addition to all this, in T-Mobile, I have also done as a Access Disability Network co-chair in the Frisco office. And one of the things I love is always is mentoring students in high school, undergrad, and grad throughout my journey, and volunteered in STEM activities, as Michelle said. Like this is Code Day. I'm veteran because it is my third year with T-Mobile in Code Day participating, and in hackathons. We love doing hackathons, and any of the women technology activities. Um, Michelle, can you show to the next slide, please? And here you can see, like, you can see the code day pictures on the side, where we had fun doing the workshop on customer focused workshop, where you are seeing everybody is drawing their product and talking to the customer and all that. And those are the first code day few pictures we had, and voluntary across. And one of the thing I think, the next, when Chris is going to talk to you, he'll be talking about software engineer, and Madhu, who is going to talk about the products. When the product is, what is product and how we are bringing it. My team consists of software engineers and products, and the testing team. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to Chris for talking about software engineering.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Christopher Spencer. I'm a software engineer here at the Frisco office at T-Mobile. And my journey actually began initially when I was about 5 years old. I wanted to get into video game design and development. I wasn't too great at math at the time, so I sort of let that dream lay dormant for a few years. And then in high school, I started taking a computer science class, and I was offered in C++. And at that point, I quickly realized that, hey, this is a way that I can possibly get into the game industry. So I went to UT Dallas. I decided to major in computer science. And when I was exploring some of their extracurricular activities, I saw that they had what was called a Student Game Developers Association. So naturally, I joined that, and through them and through some classes I took whilst I was at UTD, I managed to get heavy into game development, making mods for, at the time it was Doom 3 and Unreal Tournament. If you're not familiar with Unreal Tournament, it's sort of like Fortnite, but for my generation at the time, but not quite as popular. And it's through connections through that post-college, I managed to actually get into the game industry for real. I made some games for the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS. We made some demos for PC and PlayStation 2. A lot of licensed titles. There was SpongeBob SquarePants, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and a few other things. But then the recession hit, and I figured that might have been a good time to get out. So then I started getting into sort of desktop and web application development, iPhone development. I did some system administration. It was a hodgepodge of different things prior to coming to T-Mobile. I did full stack web development. I did some security software. And then in June of last year, I got hired at T-Mobile. Next slide, please, Michelle. So what do I do here at T-Mobile? I am on what's called the database platform DevOps team. So we're solving database procurement and sort of different things that lie around database automation for internal different application teams within T-Mobile. So we have things that sort of make the database administrators' lives easier, make lives easier for developers within T-Mobile. And we're currently looking at solving some of those high-level problems and how we can make everybody's lives easier using the sort of the DevOps philosophy, which is the merging of development and operations, which is sort of like the system administration, but from sort of a continuous perspective. And that's really all I have today.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Christopher. So next up, we've got Madhu, who's from the product side. So I'll introduce her real quick.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like Vera said, I really hope you all are having a lot of fun participating in the code day, both from the code side and specifically from the product side. And the product is exciting. Who am I? I am Madhu Mova, one of the principal product engineers, principal product managers, technical. It's a new term. But I work in the product and technology field of T-Mobile, and I am so excited to be here sharing some of the thoughts processes that I have about product. My academic background is fairly simple. I'm not as technical as my peers are here. I do have an MBA degree in finance, and I also have a computer science degree, a AA degree in computer science. I'm a classic example of a person who started off on a non-computer science field and has been in the computer science field now for about 20 plus years. My first job was at Microsoft as a software engineer. I learned code on the job. Like Bill Gates always said, you can always learn anything that you want to learn. And that's what we believe even at T-Mobile. You are a product, but you can do anything. So I influence the product management side, obviously, but I also have a big say in how the software itself is built and how Vera manages the product. So it is, I would say, a 360 degree of what is product management. What you need to certainly have for product management is curiosity, curiosity, and curiosity. So curiosity drives persistence, and persistence drives commitment. So as you see, my traits that I proudly say are clarity, consistency, and commitment, and always believe. It always seems impossible until it's done. You got to start somewhere, you got to stay on the path, and you learn as you go on the path. Product management sometimes is considered as a non-computer science world, but that is not accurate. Product management is everywhere. Where there is no product, there is no code. So you partner well with the developers, the engineers, the testers, and the vision creators, like the vision that Cody has, the vision that John Ledger in the past had, and the vision that our leaders have. We bring it to life via product and engineering. So that's why you see product and technology both come hand in glove. And that's where my role is. My passion definitely is to travel. I've been to about, as you can see, 6 wonders of the 7 wonders. I do plan to finish the last one, hopefully as soon as the COVID season's done. I do love to explore continents, and I also like to volunteer wherever I go. So I've been to pretty much most of the continents, except for the two, the coldest and the hottest, Africa and Antarctica. I do plan to go there and volunteer. And I do want to let all of you know that wherever you go, there is always computer science, there is always product, there is always ways to learn from that, whether it be a voluntary organization that you do, or fun stuff like gaming, or even big stuff like NASA. Everything has an angle of product and technology in it. What the particular field that I work within T-Mobile, I'm in the customer care organization. Very proud to be. So when you pick up a phone and call the T-Mobile for support, that's where all our applications kick in. We make sure that our applications are serving the needs of the customer as well as the needs of the representatives for helping the customers. Our North Star is very simple: world's finest customer experience that the customer chooses every single time. Internally, we always have a mission of our own, and our mission is to empower our care experts with a simplified engineer experience so that we can delight the customers through world-class customer service and unlock sales opportunities. It is a lot of words. It's a strong mission, but this is where your product mindset comes in that can enable technology to do things faster and better. And with that, I'll hand off to the next person.
All right, so we have Ava from our HR community. So I'll have her, oh, actually, sorry, Hari, who's one of our interns. And he's up next in terms of just chatting about his background.
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Michelle for having me on the call today and everyone else on the team. It's always fun to speak about my experience at T-Mobile from last summer. So I guess to start a little bit about me, I'm Hari Anamraja. I'm currently a first-year computer engineering major at the University of Georgia. I'm part of the honors program, which is composed of about 700 high-achieving students in the entire state. I'm also a representative for the first-year student government. So I represent the thoughts, beliefs, ideas, and values of 5,600 different freshmen on campus, and synthesizing those and making sure that change happens on campus. Next, I'm an Atlanta, Georgia native. I was born and raised here. I'm a proud native of Atlanta. So shout out to everyone who's on Atlanta from this call. We're out here representing. But I think most of all, most important, what everyone wants to know on here is, how did I get here? How did I get to T-Mobile? I was a software engineering intern at DevOps in product technology. And so on the next slide, I kind of want to talk about my entire journey of how I got to T-Mobile. So actually, my interest in technology started super early. In my early years, kind of like elementary school, I was very interested in building things. I like using my hands to, play with Legos, things like that, of that sort. And from there, the natural way of progression was moving into robotics, FLL robotics, where you could use the background you had in Legos to build robotic components and then compete in those competitions. So at the time, actually, I was too young for that to compete in FLL. But they said that we would have a scrimmage competition in Georgia and they would let us compete, even though we were too young. And we actually placed second or third in that competition out of all the teams. And so actually, because of that, FLL is now allowed to accept teams who are younger than third grade. So actually, my team was the one that was able to change that rule for FLL. So if you guys ever start an FLL before third grade, you can thank me later. But going from there, starting in middle school, I kind of transitioned and I continued doing Vex robotics. That's my natural progression from there. And then I remember visiting the NASA Kennedy Space Center. And I really liked how space worked. I think I was always fascinated with space and NASA in general. And I remember telling my parents, I was like, I want to be an aerospace engineer one day. But at the time, I think NASA was not doing very well. They weren't having very much funding. SpaceX had their third rocket that failed at the time. That was SpaceX's lowest point, which is obviously a great place now after Elon Musk saved it. So my parents were like, okay, well, why don't you think of software engineering? Why don't you think of developing an app and then think about if everyone around the world used that app, that would be the coolest thing ever. And I was like, yeah, that would be the coolest thing ever. Everyone used the app that I made. So that's where I kind of got my initial interest for programming. And then one of my mom's friends was able to introduce me into programming, kind of teach me some of the basics. So from there, I got to learn HTML, CSS, and Java. and JavaScript from that point. So this is around my 6th or 7th grade years. I kind of gained an initial interest for programming then. And the promise was that I would work as a software engineer for NASA at some point, since I was still interested in space at the time. But obviously that went different directions, and that's okay. And now moving into high school. So this is kind of where I buckled down and I was like, okay, I really like programming. I like software engineering. I like design methodology. I like building really cool products and shipping them to customers. So let me actually get deeper into this. And so from that point onwards, I started expanding my scope of what languages have I learned? How am I applying these? Building many projects. Like, for example, I really dive deep into machine learning. And Python, I was able to build a model to predict different stock changes and predictions over the last 10 years and use that model to make accurate decisions on future forecasts for predictions of how the stock might move. So I was able to do that. And along that progress, I was able to complete a lot of courses and gain some certifications. From some notably from Microsoft, I completed the software engineering certification from Microsoft, some of the basics for that. And I gained some other certifications as well. And that actually led me and gave me enough of a background to gain an internship at Cisco between my junior and senior year, that summer between my junior and senior year of high school. And that was really my big kick. That's kind of what my first step into the industry and understanding how things worked and how products are developed and shipped to the customer and how do we design things and how are teams even composed of, and understanding the entire flow of building a product from start to end in software engineering. That really opened my mind to the world of how large this actually is. It's not just about building an app and putting it on the App Store, but actually there's a lot of things going on in computing. Just as Madhu said, computing is everywhere. Programming is everywhere. So it was a really cool opportunity for me. And then I would say around my senior year, which is around 2020 or so, I remember applying to T-Mobile for an internship around January of 2020, hoping that it would be in person. I could go see what it was like, and hopefully get another opportunity. And little do we know, March 13th and 14th comes around and everything starts shutting down. And I think I applied in January and I didn't hear back from T-Mobile for about a month and a half or 2 months. I thought like, oh, maybe they're not interested. I just didn't get it. And I remember like the 3rd day of quarantine after my entire high school went online, I get this email on my phone saying, hey, there's this team in Atlanta. We're part of product technology, T-Mobile. We're interested and we would like to interview you. I was like, wow, like, they actually remembered about this and I can, try and get a position at T-Mobile. Luckily, I was able to get a position there. And I had like the greatest time, considering even though it was virtual and I couldn't see a lot of people in person. Honestly, it was a great experience being at T-Mobile. And I've learned so much along there, not just in terms of software development, but in terms of networking, meeting people. I think I was there at a really unique time. One, they were undergoing the largest merger in the entire telecom industry, which is $26 billion merger with Sprint. 2, they were trying to transition to a completely virtual format as a company in the middle of a pandemic that basically no one knew anything about. And 3rd, half of the executive team had changed. We had transferred from a new CEO, from John Ledger to Mike Sievert. And so all of that was a really unique time to even be at T-Mobile. I think like being an intern during that 2020 cohort was really special. So what did I actually do at T-Mobile? I was able to work with some of the software engineers there, and we developed an employee management dashboard for the new team that were actually being created in Atlanta. So this helped the manager kind of understand the team's analytics, progress and track product completion and things like that. I also assisted in data migration efforts. So this is kind of like when Sprint was merging with T-Mobile, a lot of Sprint customers' data had to be moved to T-Mobile servers and things of that sort. So I was able to help assist in those migration efforts. And then finally, this is probably the most important one, is networking with other talented employees and interns. And I think this is really important because I like to learn not only from my experiences, but from other people as well and what they're doing. And so I think this is really important. And actually just yesterday I was calling and talking to some interns that I met at T-Mobile. We were just catching up. So I like to stay in touch with everyone that I meet. And I think it's really valuable to learn what other people's opinions are, what they're working on, and how can that help improve your own work at the company. I think that's all really important. And finally, coming to the present day, I actually received an offer, I think about a month ago, to return to T-Mobile, and I accepted it as I would. I love my time there. And honestly, I would love to come back and see what else impact I can have. I also developed this interest for XR development, which is basically known as extended reality, which is a mix of VR, AR, and MR technology. And so in order for me to pursue that, I actually joined an undergraduate research lab at the university, and I actually do software development for XR now with this lab at University of Georgia. And finally, this is kind of like my largest goal for my life, at least, is to maximize my impact on the world of technology, specifically in the 5G and XR space. I think the intersection of both of those is like really unique. I think something that T-Mobile is pushing as well. But also it's something that I might do on my own outside of T-Mobile and try to see if I can maximize my impact there and see how much change I can have on the world with this head start that I feel like I've gotten. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, awesome. So it's great to hear about everybody's journey and their past, like how they came to be, and your careers kind of shift gears each time, and not being afraid to try different things, and whether it be in technology or non-technical positions, there's a lot of different opportunities out there. So with that said, I'll hand it off to Ava. She is part of our human resource team, and she'll talk more about our internships. So take it away.
Hi guys, hope you're having a really fabulous day. I am the recruiter that supports product and technology for all of our early in career programs. So I wanted to give you kind of an overview of the different programs that we support in early in career. Our University of Magenta program is kind of our flagship summer internship program. That is full-time, 40 hours a week for 12 weeks. Our internship program, summer internship program, is a little bit different than a lot of other large technology companies. Instead of all of our interns working on an intern project together for the summer, we kind of integrate you guys into teams for the summer. Sometimes you're the only intern on a team, but you get to work alongside other seasoned professionals and be mentored by a member of that team for the summer. So it's a really, really cool experience. We have 39 teams that will be hosting interns for this summer. So super excited for that, working on all sorts of great things. Let's see, we're getting some feedback about the slides being a little bit small. Michelle, are you able to expand that at all? And then our other programs that we host, we have Explorer, which is for our high school students, and Explorer Prep, which is for our juniors in high school. So Explorer is for seniors looking to go into a university program. And our Explorer Prep is partnered with some of our local community colleges. That is for juniors in high school that maybe aren't looking to go into a traditional university program, but we're partnering with community colleges for a certificate program. So then students, when they graduate high school, they will have a certificate as a software developer. So it's a really cool program. Right now, we just expanded our Explorer Prep program into, I believe it's North Carolina and Overland Park, Kansas. So that'll be super exciting to see that take off over the course of the next year. Next slide, please. There we go. So then our other program, so the Apprenticeship Program is one that just launched this year. That is only at our Las Vegas, Nevada location. And that is kind of more focused on our customer care call center there, and roles that we have there, like our resource planning and our business support, so a lot of analytical positions and also training positions there at our Las Vegas, Nevada location. And then we have our TechX program that I support the recruiting efforts for. So our TechX internship is a 9-month part-time internship throughout the school year. We currently offer that at our Bellevue location, Atlanta, Dallas, Overland Park, and I think we also in our Parsippany, New Jersey location. And And then our TechX Professional, we actually have that one currently posted. We're currently sourcing and recruiting for that program. That is an 18-month rotational program. It's a full-time employment opportunity for those who have graduated either spring of this year or all the way back 12, 18 months ago. It's an early career program, gives you what I like to call a tasting menu of some of our different teams. So you rotate through 3 different teams. The first 2 are pre-selected and you interview with those managers. And then the last is a team that you select and you work with your program manager to select a team. So that you can try out something completely different. We've had people in our TechX Professional program that have done everything from software engineering, they've done data analytics, and then their third rotation and branched out into a product manager role to really get a full experience of knowing what it's like to be in technology at T-Mobile. And like I said, that's not an internship. You're a full-time employee from day one. At the end of that 18 months, then you select the team that you'd like to move forward with permanently as a permanent member of their team. So it's a really super great program. I feel like it's really different and kind of sets us apart and has really great development support. That's all I've got. Thanks, Michelle.
All right. So thank you everyone for walking through that. So we'll just kind of launch into a few questions and then I'll open it up to the audience to ask questions as well. So feel free, team, to jump in and answer questions. First one is, what advice would you give to your younger self looking back at your career? I know some of you have just started, but you know, kind of looking back to that, what type of advice would you give yourself?
I would go with saying never be afraid to try new things. I think that, and it's never late to start coding. You are an engineer, or the logic, coding, everything goes hand in hand. Like everything, whatever you try, you will be able to solve any challenging thing or anything. Just go for it, jump into it. And as Madhu has said, curiosity will get you. Curiosity will help you to go a long way. And also, as Hari has shown his journey across, it's like go even in early. There is no age limit and there is no early or late. You just go and dive into it. Whatever is your passion, pursue that.
I'd like to build on what Vera just said. A life in this position or this sort of career, it's all about lifelong learning. So even though you may be in a stable position right now and you're perfectly happy and everything, always stay curious, always stay hungry. Whatever takes your interest, go and explore it, even if it's just a little bit. If you find you don't like it, that's fine. It adds to your overall experience, which at the end of the day is always going to be valuable. It's always good to have the bad in with the good so that you know when the good stuff happens.
Yeah, if possible, I'd like to build on that as well. I was just thinking back to, like, you know, now that I'm a first year college student, just thinking about like all of my years as in schooling, what could I have done even slightly different, or what would I have told myself? And I think the one main thing I would have told myself is, don't compare yourself to anyone else. That is the one thing I would tell myself throughout, like, if I went backwards. And I think there's a really good quote by Bill Gates, and he says, if you're comparing yourself to someone else, it's actually you're insulting yourself. And I think that's really important, because when you're comparing yourself, it tends to lead you astray in different directions you don't want to go. And you have to have that personal conviction and dig deep down inside and figure out, what do you actually want to do? Like, what's actually your career? What do you want to do for this world? And then move in that direction, because that's what's going to make you happy, right? Don't let other people's opinions or that society like move you in different directions that you don't want to go. So listen to yourself, and do what's best for you and what you feel like you want to do best. So that's what the one advice I give myself is don't look at too many opinions. Your opinion is probably the strongest one that you have. So don't compare yourself to anyone else.
I'll add to that too, Harry. That's a really good point because I get a lot of candidates that reach out and like, how should I behave during the interview and how should I present and this, that, and the other. And the thing that I always tell my candidates is to just be themselves. Like we use the hashtag #BeYou a lot, and that's a part of our culture and our values is bringing who you are to work every day, and being okay with just being you. The thing that when I'm reviewing higher view videos and looking at people's interviews, I want people who are authentically themselves. I'm not looking for perfection, I'm looking for passion. And I think that that is something that really resonates with all of us at T-Mobile. And I think there's some freedom in that, in just being able to be who you are, and be authentic and be genuine, because that's how we innovate and that's how we become the best. So just be authentically yourself. Don't try to be anybody else. Don't try to compare yourself to anybody else. I know it took me a lot of years to be comfortable with who I was. I've always been too loud, and I use my hands a lot when I talk. And so I finally found a role that worked perfectly for that. Recruiting, I get to just be my crazy self all day, every day. And T-Mobile gives me the ability to be who I am at work. So just being okay in your own skin's the way to go for sure.
And I'll add last thing that don't be scared to fail. Every failure is a learning experience, and don't be shy to even talk about your failure because everybody knows that everybody is not perfect, and we learn from our failures, and it's okay to showcase your failure because as long as you're learning and it's continuing, it's a lifelong of journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We learn every place we go. So don't be afraid to talk about failures and don't be afraid to fail. Fail, but learn from it and move on.
Yeah, definitely. I would say what all you said. Basically, don't be afraid to fail, because as you're learning throughout your career, and even when you're far into your career, there's things that you want to try, and not everything is going to work out. So it's good to just be able to try and then see what you learn from that. And so, what about maybe skills, either they're technical skills or soft skills? What do you believe is important to survive in this industry?
I'd like to start with this question, if that's okay. So the biggest thing from my point of view is communication. You can't get anywhere these days without being able to communicate effectively. As far as technical skills go, we have a lot of resources these days. We've got all sorts of stuff on the internet. You can take classes, you can read articles, you can watch videos, you can learn things in a variety of different ways. But if you can't communicate, I would say that'd be sort of the hardest thing to try and completely learn by yourself. Now, there are resources to learn that as well, and I would sort of emphasize probably learning those skills at least alongside your initial technical learning first.
I'd like to build on that, what Chris said. Definitely, communication is the key, and able to articulate yourself and express and being a team player is also another key skill, which will help you long way. And having authentically be you, hashtag be you, and talking about like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is how I'm envisioning for this code. Being able to express and telling in openly helps you to collaborate openly, because those are the important things, because no one is perfect. We just are blindsided to each other's, like we all have blind sides, right? Like for example, we didn't think about that particular direction. we are thinking about a product, and maybe we are not envisioning that view. Someone else is having that experience and able to tell us. So we all together are making the product a solid product, or a excellent product for the serving for the customers. So we are all together working in a team environment, having the communication as well as in the team building skills, and a team player, and having able to articulate what you believe and why you are. Those all will help you along with technical skills. As Chris said, we have so many resources, we all can go on and keep learning, and there is no end. Sometimes we learn in the job real time, and those are like internship, for example, Hari mentioned, those are real experience built on the real time working. Those are the opportunities you will have either in your school project, right now in high school project, doing a project together. Every step helps you in providing that experience, like you're building the presentation skills, building the skills coming and talking in front of the class and the team. All those things, everything helps you as you are building your next phase of journey and in your life.
I'll add a little more to that. Whenever you look at a problem statement, whether you're looking at something for your school or for long-term resume building or skill set acquiring, go with your passion. Your skills will be very polished if you go with your passion. If it's not your passion, you want to pause and think about, is this what I really want to do now, 10 years from now, or am I learning the skill because it's going to add up to something else that I want to do? Like Hari mentioned, don't try to compare yourself to somebody else to build skill set. Build your skill set that you are passionate about. And if you need help in acquiring those skill sets, there are many resources out there that can be helping. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to help you get some more resources there. But go with your passion. Ask always what, why, how, and when. That builds your curiosity, and that also leads to your soft skills that we are talking about. You want to be asking questions that mean something to you, that you're learning. Don't ask a question just because your competition asked the same question. Why is that question important for you? And how is it going to help you to become a better person or improve your skill set? Having a formal degree is great, but even without a formal degree, there are many ways where you can make an impact. So don't let one or the other deter you from what your passion is. I'm a classic example. Like I said, I started with an MBA in finance. My first job was at Microsoft, and it was not in finance, it was in computer science. So the SharePoint site that you see, that was my first application that I built. So I was in a non-computer background, learned computer because that's what became my passion, and that's what added to your skill set. And in that path, you improve your communication, you improve your style of speaking, what is your passion? Everything you do, your passion has to come through it. And that's what will keep you going in the long run. It is a marathon, like I said.
I'm going to keep this very short because I saw some other things we need to cover, but I'm going to keep it to about a minute. The first thing I'll say is I think Vera covered the points like really well, whatever I was going to say. I think if we're going back to the original question, whether soft skills or professional skills in terms of programming and coding ability is more important, I would say overwhelmingly soft skills are way more important. Because this is the truth, guys. I promise you this, everyone in the Twitch who's listening right now, 99% of software engineers who came into their job did not have all of the skills that they had to do their job for the next 10 years. They definitely did learn and improve and update their technologies and their skills. So soft skills are overwhelmingly more important. Being able to be a team player, being able to learn quickly, implement quickly, being able to try, test, and fail, being able to do all of these things is super important to having that. And so I would say know your basics, have some decent skills in there, but know to be more adjustable. Keep an open mind, learn from people who have different perspectives, synthesize those, and overall build a better solution. That's what it's about.
I will say majority of the hiring managers that I work with, and I work with about 100 hiring managers every year, they are like, if you know a coding language, they can teach you what you need, even if it's not the language that you currently know, as long as you're passionate and willing to implement feedback. Like when I ask any manager, what do you need from your intern? They say passion, desire to learn, and able to implement feedback. those are the bottom line skills to be successful for sure.
Awesome. Some very good advice. So we'll just open it up now to Q&A for the audience if you've got some questions to ask.
Can we go to the next slide too, Michelle, that's got like all of our websites on it?
Yep, perfect.
Awesome sauce, thank you. Did we know, are they able to unmute, or should we go to the ones that have been posted in the chat?
Yeah, I was just gonna say there might be ones in the chat.
Yeah, maybe in the post in the chat, because I think that they were going to call them out, but if you guys could see it in the chat, just go ahead and answer.
Yeah, so I'll take the ones in regards to like explorers and stuff. So for our explorer roles, those should be posted by the end of March. So keep a lookout for those. One of the questions was, are we going to have the high school internships in California? We don't as of yet. It's still super early. The program is, I think, in its second or third year, and it started out really small. We're expanding. So I think our hope is that someday we'll be able to offer it nationwide, especially now that we've gotten more familiar in this remote space that makes it a lot more doable. But for right now, we have them only where we have technology hubs.
I'm looking at a question. Where could a student go to find out about new opportunities? Is it for any experience point of view, or getting back an internship in T-Mobile? I was wondering if you're talking about, hey, what are the opportunities as an intern and not as an intern, like in high school or in a middle school? I would definitely encourage you all, as Hari has showed in his journey when he was in high school, or how his interest triggered and how he started looking into the opportunities. In the high school, you have, in middle school and high school, you have coding days or hackathons, and you also have the projects for robotics, and you also have opportunities like Sohawks, which is like overnight hackathons, which is really fun for all the high school grads, like after your senior year, which you do whole summer, like 2 days, Friday to Sunday. All those opportunities, look for Raise Your Thing. And if not, you create a club. You have high school clubs with the coding clubs. And one of the thing is, you can actually say, hey, I'm going to create, this is my interest. Let's have a business professionals come in and talk. And you can have from the computers field, you'll have professionals come and talk to your school. You can create your own club, and anything which you want to pursue, as everyone has mentioned in the, as Madhu has said, Hari and Eva mentioned, and Chris mentioned, like, be authentic, be passionate. Your attitude goes long way. There is nothing stopping you. Whatever you want to do in this world, there is no limit. My daughter, who is also a high school student, she said, Mom, there is no limit. Sky is not the limit. There is galaxy. There is out there, right? So just go, and your attitude will get you whatever, and find those opportunities. And please feel free to reach out to us. We are on LinkedIn, and we can help you anywhere fashion, as T-Mobile is huge on encouraging those innovations and authenticity, bringing all those, and also future, not only software engineers, coding and everything, entrepreneurs, because this is your opportunity.
We have two kind of related questions from Twitch chat. The first one is, what does a T-Mobile intern work on? The second one is, did any of the high school interns in the before times work on any hardware bits?
Okay, so I guess would I be best to answer this question, or Eva, do you want to go?
No, go for it, Hari, and I'll fill in the gaps if I feel like there are any, but I have a feeling you're going to have a really good answer.
Sure. All right, cool. Well, way to put me up there, but I guess I'll do my best. So, yeah, so my specific role in T-Mobile at the time was I was part of the product technology organization. I was working as part of supply chain management. That was my team. That was part of product technology. And within that, there was multiple different products, because if you think about it, everything that happens in a company goes through the supply chain, right? So your data, the actual products, your phones, the networking, everything goes through the supply chain to get to the customer. So it was a really interesting place to be, because you got to see the entire product line and everything that T-Mobile had going through that one area. So my main project was working with the new team that we were making. So there was a new team that was being formed in Atlanta, and we had to develop some kind of internal software to help our managers manage these new teams more effectively, understand how they can reach and meet their employees' goals, and how they can reach the company's goals, and are they on progress and on track to do that within those individual projects. So it was mainly software based, but I think it was really helpful in understanding how to implement something like that. I mean, that's using like enterprise software is not really applicable outside in your own space. You can't really get experience with that unless you're actually inside of a company. So I think that's very valuable for me. In terms of hardware, I think I am aware. I was talking to another intern at the time who was working on networking hardware. I think that's a separate, different role than what I did, but I think it's also very fascinating. And I would say, yeah, like if you're an intern and you end up doing an intern, the project that I worked on when I was a software engineer intern there last summer is actually still being in use and is being developed right now. So it's not a project that they just make you do and throw out to the side. The people I was talking to yesterday are actually still working on the project that I was starting there. So it's actually real, and they're still using it, and it's been almost a year, and they're still developing and working on that. So it's a real project. It's not just an intern project that they throw to the side after you're done.
That's a really good call out, Ari, because we don't do just an intern project. Like we're not having interns in to just work on a project that we're like, okay, thanks. Now go back to school and we'll stick that there in case we need it someday. You guys are integrated into teams working on what that team is working on over that 12-week period. So it's an actionable deliverable for the company that's going to go out to the enterprise. We just, let's see, about 18 months ago, we started doing hardware in-house. That was something that we had outsourced previous to our Sync Up and Pet, or Sync Up Pet is what it's called. And so that's hardware we're building in-house now. We actually have one of our summer internship teams that will be working on that technology in micro GPSing for that. We had it previously where you would put it on your cat or your dog and they would run around and maybe get lost in the neighborhood and you could locate them using your Sync Up Pet app. And now they're doing micro location services on that. So from what I understand, it's so that women will be able to identify, like in a house, exactly where your pet is. Like they're locked in a closet, and you'll be able to see that on your app. We also have our Sync Up Drive technology, which has been out for a few years now, but some of our summer interns will also be working on that in expanding what it's capable of and adding new features to it. We've got R&D projects that are happening in PNT that summer interns will be working on this summer. It's really, really cool because all of our interns get to work on stuff that like a team is working on. So you're learning technology that's really going to be put out to the masses. So it's a really, really great experience. And you get to learn new things. And then two, folks that work for us get to learn from you. It's a very mutually beneficial relationship. We have technology managers with us, and this is something that I also find very unique to T-Mobile is that we have people that have been with us for 15 and 20 years. You don't see that in a lot of technology companies. You see about a 3 to 4 year bounce around from company to company, and we have people at T-Mobile that have been with us for decades. And so they get to learn things from you guys that maybe they didn't have coursework. There wasn't software engineering degrees when they went to college. And so as you guys come in, they're learning from you as much as you're learning from them. And it's a very cool relationship that gets built between our leaders and our interns.
I wanted to jump in real quick. This is like a 30-second of information, but I think it's really valuable. Something that I learned when I was there at T-Mobile was that T-Mobile has this really unique opportunity. This is actually like outside of your team, but as interns, you have access to the executive team. And that's extremely valuable. That's something that a lot of the FANG companies don't actually have. So if you want to learn about how the C-suite got there and how the C-level positions at their journey and stuff like that, it's really cool. This goes back to a different question. The reason I learned about how valuable communication was because T-Mobile's, I think one of T-Mobile's executives, Callie Field, she's the executive for customer care. And she was talking, I asked her this question actually over the Zoom call at the time. I was like, what's the most important quality an executive should have? And she was like, it's communication. Just listening to people, understanding their needs and communicating them clearly. I think I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't have access to those executive positions, understanding at that level. That's actually what's the most important thing. I think that's the coolest thing ever. So I think that's a really important advantage of being at T-Mobile as an intern. And also, like we were saying before, you are actually part of the team. Like you will be in every single team meeting, whether you understand the content or not. You will be in the meetings. You will have to do status reports. You will have to do your normal work. I think that's the way it should be treated, because you want to be treated like a normal employee that's there, because that's how you learn the most and you overcome challenges by doing that.
Yeah. Amazing exposure for sure.
I'd like to add what Hari and Eva said. I had intern in my team, so they were just like full-time employees. So you're no different. You have everything as a full-time employee, same responsibilities, timesheets, your, all the fun stuff about the projects you're doing, and you are attending the Scrum teams, you're doing the coding, you have user stories which are assigned to you, and working just like a full-time employee.
And don't let that scare you. People are there to help you. Don't worry. At the first few days, it looks a little bit overwhelming. I remember that, but I remember the second week I was there, I adjusted really fast, and it was a good experience.
Yeah, I didn't mean to scare them, Hari. Yeah. I just wanted to tell them that
it's a good call out, Vera, because I tell all of my candidates that at the end of your 12 weeks, you're going to know what it's like to work at T-Mobile. Like you will have a fully immersive experience, and you'll know exactly what a day in the life looks like at T-Mobile. And I think that the other good call out is the support. We have an incredibly supportive group of people that work at T-Mobile. Like to be able to reach out and basically cold call somebody, right? And be like, hey, I heard you might be in charge of this and I need some help, or can you give me a hand? Everybody is willing to put 5 minutes on my calendar. I'll chat with you. I can help you out. I've always, because I was previously at Microsoft before I came to T-Mobile. I worked on an engineering events team there. And I don't know that I would have felt as comfortable there to reach out to people I didn't know as I do here. Everybody is super friendly and willing to help in any way that they can, including our executives. I had one of my interns put 15 minutes on Cody's calendar last summer. And Cody was like, yeah, let's chat. And he's our chief technology officer. So it's a really, really great development friendly environment. And so for early career, it's really great.
Yeah, and also intern will be having a dedicated technical mentor in my team assigned with them. So day to day, they have go-to and the team and everything. So as Hari said, we have support system. But I just wanted to give you a gist of what it is, like a sneak preview, right, teaser, being an intern in T-Mobile.
All right. Well, we're kind of heading to end of time, but I wanted to thank everybody for their questions and the panel for sharing their stories. We'll also move over to trivia in just a sec here. So with that said, are there any parting thoughts from the panel, just very quick, about maybe what you like about the culture at T-Mobile?
Yeah, I'll definitely add to that and say that a huge sense of ownership. You build it, you own it as our mindset. And it doesn't matter what role you are, whether you're an intern or all the way to the C-suite. You build it, you own it, you take the ownership of it, and you will have strong guided mentorship, irrespective of what level you are. At every level, you have a mentor. I have a mentor, and I've been with the company for close to 9 years now. And so at every place you learn, and a sense of ownership is very huge, irrespective of what it is.
Not particular to T-Mobile, but just in general for your career, just stay hungry, stay foolish, learn all the lessons that you can. And just don't be afraid to put yourself out there we've all had to do it at some point or another. You'll have a great support system at some level.
I will
I'd like-
say, go ahead, sorry.
I'd like to add on to that. What Madhu and Chris said is learner is something which be always open to learning journey throughout your life. That attitude will go a long way. Have your attitude and be authentic and pursue your passion, and irrespective whatever it is, just go after it. Those in T-Mobile or anywhere else, you will be able to be successful and have a really content happy life.
I will say for T-Mobile, what always really resonates with me is I feel like they're this big company that has a really big heart. And so my goal every day in my interactions inside and outside of this company is to show the heart of who we are, because I feel like that is the piece that really makes us different, is that we all truly care about what we're doing. We're all bought into this bigger picture, and what we're working on is so much bigger than all of us individually. And so I think that that's the part of our culture that I really, really love.
So
Yeah.
I'll add on a little bit. I think my answer is always a little bit more philosophical and deep for no reason whatsoever, just the way that I think. But for me, like personally, I always thought that like the meaning of life was just to become the best version of yourself by the time your time is done. So what I would say is be relentless, learn as much as you can, do everything that you can, and improve yourself as a person. I think T-Mobile actually has a great network and framework for becoming the best version of yourself. If you can fight for a little bit of calendar time on someone's calendar, learn from as many people as you can within your team and outside of your team, I think at the end you'll realize how much you've actually become a better person and how much you've improved over the 12, 14, 16 weeks, how many ever you're there. I think it's really valuable. So just focus on yourself, listen to yourself a lot, and become the best version of yourself. And you'll reach places that most people won't even dream of having.
Awesome, thank you. So we'll head on to our trivia here, whoever's left.
You're gonna need to change your view, or else we see the answers, because right now it shows the following slide.
Okay, hold on just a moment then. Great. Okay, hold on. Let me
display settings. Right now we're seeing your presenter view and not the display view.
Okay, so okay, I did not plan on that. All right, you know what? Instead of the slides, we'll just get, so you can see the answer to this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you hit display settings at the top, I think you might get something different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you also share how we are awarding the raffle? Are we giving it to the first person to get the answer correct, or are we randomly picking from everybody who got it correct?
The first person who got the answer correct. So this one will, since you saw the answer, we'll just flash it on the screen here. So that one's like a little freebie. This was who was our flashy past CEO and who is our current CEO. So John Ledger, he was our past CEO, which was very much in the media. And then Mike is our new CEO. So next question is, name one of our uncarrier moves. And I'll probably take like two people from this, like the first ones to get that correct. And just, shout them out there if you see them in the chat.
Will do. I will let you know as I watch them come in.
Okay.
How many uncarrier moves have we done now, you guys? Are we at 12 or 13? Or is it 14? Is it 14?
Oh, gosh.
I think it was at 12 when I was there last time.
I've got somebody say T-Mobile Tuesdays.
Yes, that is one of them. T-Mobile Tuesdays. We'd like to thank our people for our services and our products.
Ad-free Pandora.
Yes.
Mobile without borders. Discounts for the frontline workers. Yeah. Binge on. Netflix on us. Netflix on us. Reliable customer service. Free Netflix.
That's right. That's right.
Scam
okay,
shield.
So let's pick the first like two from there. Okay. If you could get that.
Yeah, let me write these people's names down.
Okay.
Or should I just say them and then to send me a DM on Discord and I can pass them on to you, Michelle?
Yeah, you can just pass them on to me. Yep.
Okay, yeah, sure. So for the first one, looks like the first person was HK Amron 80. If you could please send me a DM on Discord.
Oh, sorry, my dog is barking. It's Adrian. Okay, you might need to like just send it. Hey,
I'll just, we'll figure it out later because we have
We'll
an
figure it out
archive of the
later.
chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So
the
I will
next
reach out
one
to you.
is, who is our Chief Information Product Officer? And then our locations that are hubs.
All right. We've got Cody Sanford.
Yep.
Which, fun fact about Cody Sanford, you guys, he was a poli-sci major. So things that we learn from our executives during our summer internship season and their speaker series. He's got a fabulous story.
Somebody said Atlanta, location Bellevue, Washington.
Yep.
Another person, Cody Sanford, Georgia, Texas.
Okay, so we'll take the first two from there with the Cody and the location. So the locations are, there's Cody, Bellevue, Overland Park, Frisco, and Atlanta. So with that said, we'll close it off, and thank you again for everyone for participating. Our panel, thanks a lot for sharing your stories. We appreciate it. Take care.
Take care. Hope
Bye.
you're all having fun coding.
Good luck.
Thanks, everyone. Good
Bye,
luck.
guys.
Hi guys, good luck.
Bye.
Hi, guys. Good luck.